Hey everyone, good afternoon. It's me, your favorite amateur astronomer. It's Francis. Learning more about the Great Comet of 1680. You know, the one that was here 333 years ago, the one that we are trying to determine if it has any connection with C 2012 S1 or upcoming Great Comet of 2013, ISON. Let's compare the two. That's what I said to myself, and so that's what we're going to do here. In the JPL, um, I know that there are better programs. My computer at home, we're still living in 2011. In some instances, we're just dealing with new comets. Please bear with me. I'll try to use my technology the best I can. I'm hoping to be able to explain some things with what I have, and hopefully it'll be okay. Hopefully you'll come back. C 1680 V1. It's the Great Comet of 1680. It's the first comet ever discovered by a telescope, but amazingly enough, it didn't need a telescope to be discovered, because if you waited long enough, it would have been seen clearly with the naked eye. It was, at the time, thought of as being two separate comets because of the way the comets act when they are close to the sun, like this one was, and like our comet ISON will be at the end of the year. I want to bring that up. Now we can start talking about the action of a comet as it passes the sun. Here you'll see, I want everybody to know, the light blue color of the orbit denotes above the ecliptic, so above the equator. We'll consider the equator of Earth being the ecliptic, where all these plates are sitting on, and that's the equator of Earth. When the comet or the object, asteroid, whatever it may be, in its orbit is above the equator, you'll have a light blue color. And when it's below the equator, you have the dark blue color. So here, it's all the way above the equator, and then somewhere right around the sun, it gets to the equator of the Earth, it gets thrown below the equator and then comes back up because of its trajectory. This is C 1680 V1. This is C 2012 S1. And we'll get the screen in place if I'm able to. Please bear with me. And what we have is similar looking orbits, except they are, you can see there, it's off. This one's coming in from here, the old one comes in from here, and the new one comes in from a different angle a little bit. And here it is, coming in from the top, going below, and coming back out. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm reading some of the information, and is it part of the old one? You know, I'm trying to determine what creates an orbital track after you have a close approach. Looking at some of the historical information about the Great Comet of 1680. I have this diagram back here, and it's created of loops or orbits that were created from one orbit. As it comes around and gets altered by the sun and gets flung into a new orbit, it creates a new orbit. Now, in this instance, we might have a very large orbit to start, and then maybe we lose some material, then we have a smaller orbit to start next, then we lose some material, and then maybe the orbit gets smaller until its sun grazes into the sun. I don't know if you could see that. I hope you did. can almost see that in this the way this goes, but it's not being described to me as this. I'm observing these tracks, thinking how they fit in with the older model. Read information today. The information today called the Comet a sun grazer. My experience with sun grazers were Crutz comets, but now we have this great comet of 1680, and I believe that I'm thinking now, as I'm thinking about the information, I think I had learned that the Great Comet was a part of a Crutz comet, and I have to remember now that as we're thinking about all this, I had thought about, well, what would be unexpected would be a large Crutz comet, but I didn't imagine it to be on the scale of a great comet. I think what this information is, this information is definitely not even entertaining anything strange. What it's entertaining is real scenarios, astronomical scenarios, with a very large comet that interacts with the solar object and may or may not have its orbit altered in such a way, because now let's think, now they were performing orbital tracks and imaging and tracking the movement of the Great Comet of 1680, but somewhere in the middle we may have lost its positioning. What is this? A piece? A half? More? I don't know. I'm going to continue to look at the information and try to put it in its perspective. Find out how it gets from here, to today's, to this year's comet. What else I did? I was, what I did is I searched, of course I'm just searching things. I'm searching and we're seeing the imagery of the Great Comet. The Great Comet was thought of as being two separate comets because on its way by the sun, it is, before it gets to the sun, it is heated, superheated, and creates a tail, and then it'll appear after sunset as it's getting to the sun. It'll appear after sunset as it's getting to the sun, and then once it passes the sun, it'll appear before sunset. Before the sun rises, as it's going away. And in that instance, as it comes closer to the sun, there's a good chance that it loses its tail, and that it'll have to regrow a tail after it gets by the sun. The Great Comet of 1680 was extremely close. I think we were 540,000 miles from the sun, or something of that nature. I'm not confirmed of my initial information, and the information I'm still going on for this comet, Ison, is 1 million miles away from the sun, but I'm going to have to, of course, confirm that. We're planning on confirming that with hard data when we get a chance to image it and compare images between the two locations. When we image at the same time from Cosmic Obsession Observatory and an observatory of one of the locations of iTelescope.net. Sorry that it was so hard and looked so strange. So right now, research looked at the two orbital tracks, bringing together the two basics, and maybe seeing how we get a loop, large orbit gets broken and turned and smaller and smaller. Sun grazer. I have no information about it hitting the sun. we watch sun grazers with SDO satellites. I've seen the reports. We're going to see the Comet and the SDOs. I've seen the reports of the Comet and Mars. It appears quite clearly that the Comet's going to fly over Mars. You know, close approaches. There is, you know, Mars has been the beneficiary of a lot of close approaches since Curiosity arrived. I know that the large golden asteroid Eros made a close approach, or is making a close approach this December as well. Oh, here was a great point. Great point. The Great Comet of 1680 was at its brightest on Christmas Day. And I think it's important to note that this one is coming at the same time. November, December. We could have a very a very comet Christmas. I think this Christmas may go down as the Comet Christmas. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll do less shopping and more viewing of the free night sky because of the Great Comet will be out there. I know this video isn't... well, let's see what else we have up here. The latest observations of Comet Ison, and I'll scroll down and I'll find it, is from a personal observatory in Italy. We're back at the International Astronomical Union's Minor Planet Center. 2008, 2010, 2012, S1, 43.79, late at night on 4344, so last night, 2013. The magnitude is how bright it is, 16.2, and here's the observatory. A lot of people looking at Pan stars from H06. This is New Mexico skies here. But right here is 233 is from Italy. They got a shot of Ison confirmed. Magnitude, they're going to have some other data on it as well. Let's look at this. I'm probably going to disappear. I'm going to disappear. Goodbye. Okay, that bullseye is where it's coming from right now. And that was the coordinates that I got from myself the other day. So it's coming out of Gemini. Probably many of you know that already. And if you didn't, and if you're just following me, well then maybe you're going to recognize that we're watching C2012 S1, great C2012 S1, parentheses, ISON, ISON, the Comet, the Great Comet of 2013. I'll talk to you all later. This is Francis out, 3:43 p.m. in Texas. I'm your favorite amateur astronomer, and now I'm out of here.